Welcome to today's episode of EduMama, where we dive into the incredible resilience.
Born on the
of
Ice,
planet's
Harp
most
Seals in a
iconic
Changing
creatures,
World
the polar
is a
bear.
documentary that highlights
These
the
majestic
life of harp
predators roam
seals
the icy
and the
reaches
challenges
of
they
the Arctic,
face due to
surviving in a
climate
world
change.
that tests their endurance
It showcases the
every
journey
turn.
of these seals,
A world
from
of
birth
ice and
on the frozen
challenges.
ice floes of the North
The
Atlantic
Arctic is a
to their
land of
migration
extremes,
across the
with
seas.
temperatures plunging below
Harp
minus
seals,
40 degrees
known for
Celsius,
their striking
80
white
degrees
fur
Fahrenheit,
and graceful
daylight
movements,
vanishing for
rely on
months
sea
during the
ice for
polar bear.
birthing
Survival
and nursing
here
their
demands
pups. The
exceptional
film captures the
adaptations.
delicate
Polar
relationship
bears,
between
also
these
known as
seals
Ursus
and their
maritimus, are
environment,
perfectly engineered
detailing
for
the
this icy
vulnerability
realm.
of the
Their
species
thick,
as the
insulating
ice
fur
that
and
sustains
layer of
them melts
fat,
earlier in
4
the
inches
year
thick,
due to
make
rising
them warm
temperatures.
against relentless winds
The
and freezing
documentary
seas.
focuses on the pups'
But
early
even
life,
these apex
their
predators
dependence on the
face
ice for
overwhelming
survival,
challenges.
and the
The
increasing
Arctic's
threat
ice, their
posed by
primary
warmer
hunting ground,
waters,
is shrinking
which
at an
leads to a
alarming
decline
rate
in their
due to climate
habitat.
change.
Through
For polar
stunning
bears,
visuals
the
and expert
consequences are
commentary,
dire.
the
They depend on
documentary
sea
also
ice to hunt
explores
seals,
conservation
their
efforts
primary food
and the
source.
impacts of
Without
human
it, they are
activities
forced to
on
swim
the
longer
seals'
distances and
habitats.
scavenge on land.
It offers a
Food is
poignant
scarce,
look at how climate
but
change
predators
is
persevere.
altering the natural world
Hunting seals
and the
isn't
potential
easy.
consequences
Polar
for
bears
species like the
patiently
harp
wait at
seal
breathing
that are
holes,
deeply
sometimes for
intertwined
hours,
with the
waiting to
ice-covered
ambush their
ecosystem of the
prey.
North.
A successful hunt
Would you like
provides the
more
high-fat
information
nutrition
about
they
harp
need to
seals
survive for
or
weeks
climate
and
change's
months.
impact on marine
Yet,
life?
with the ice melting earlier each spring and forming later in the fall, these opportunities are dwindling. Starvation is a growing threat. A mother bear with cubs can lose up to 50% of her body weight during the fasting months of summer. Despite this, she fiercely protects and nurtures her young, teaching them the skills they'll need to survive in a world that is becoming increasingly unforgiving. Swimming against the odds. In their search for food, polar bears are known to swim incredible distances, sometimes over 100 kilometers, 62 miles at a stretch. While they are strong swimmers, this level of exertion takes a toll, especially on cubs and older bears. As ice floes drift farther apart, the strain of these epic journeys pushes them to their limits. The fight for survival. Despite their strength and adaptability, polar bears are now listed as a vulnerable species. Scientists predict that if the Arctic continues to warm at its current rate, these magnificent creatures could lose their natural habitat entirely within the next century. But it's not too late. Conservation efforts are underway to protect the Arctic and mitigate climate change, giving polar bears a fighting chance. A call to action. The story of the polar bear is a stark reminder of the fragility of our planet. Their survival depends not only on their remarkable adaptations, but on our willingness to act. Every choice we make to reduce emissions, conserve energy, or advocate for renewable energy helps secure a future where polar bears continue to roam the Arctic. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the harsh, breathtaking world of polar bears. Let's remember their plight and work together to protect the wild places they call home. Until next time, this is EduMama, reminding you that every action counts. What did you think of this episode? Let me know and join the conversation about how we can protect these Arctic titans. Hunting on the ice seal hunting is the cornerstone of a polar bear's survival strategy. Using their incredible sense of smell, they can detect a seal breathing under snow-covered ice from nearly a kilometer away. A polar bear's patience is legendary. They can sit motionless for hours beside a breathing hole, waiting for a seal to surface. One successful hunt can provide enough fat to sustain a bear for weeks, but the odds are stacked against them. As the ice retreats, seals become harder to catch. Without the ice as a hunting platform, polar bears are left to scavenge on land. Unfortunately, terrestrial food sources like berries, bird eggs, and carcasses don't provide the high-fat diet they need. This has led to increased competition, with polar bears venturing into human settlements in search of food, a behavior that often leads to conflict. The maternal struggle. For female polar bears, survival is even more challenging. After mating in the spring, a pregnant polar bear will build a den in the snow and hibernate through the long Arctic winter. During this time, she gives birth to 1 to 3 cubs, each weighing less than a kilogram, 2.2 pounds. The mother's body provides all the warmth and nourishment her cubs need, but she doesn't eat or drink during this period. By the time she emerges from the den in spring, she may have lost up to half her body weight. The cubs remain with their mother for about 2 years, learning essential survival skills. However, with dwindling ice and longer fasting periods, fewer mothers can provide enough milk to sustain their cubs. Many cubs don't survive their first year, a heartbreaking trend that could threaten the species' future. Swimming to survive. As the ice melts, polar bears are forced to swim greater distances between hunting grounds. These epic swims, often spanning 100 kilometers or more, are physically exhausting and dangerous. While adult bears are strong swimmers, cubs struggle to keep up, and many drown before reaching safety. Even for adults, these long swims deplete precious energy reserves, leaving them vulnerable to starvation and disease. The role of the Arctic ecosystem. Polar bears are more than apex predators. They are vital indicators of the Arctic ecosystem's health. Their survival depends on a delicate balance between ice, prey, and the wider environment. When sea ice melts, it's not just the polar bears that suffer. Entire food chains are disrupted. Seals, fish, and plankton all rely on the ice, either as habitat or as a source of nutrients from algae that grow on its underside. This interconnectedness underscores the urgency of addressing climate change. Protecting polar bears means protecting the Arctic, a region that regulates global temperatures and weather patterns. The loss of Arctic ice accelerates global warming, creating a feedback loop with devastating consequences for ecosystems worldwide. Hope through conservation. Despite the challenges, there is hope for polar bears. Conservation efforts are making a difference, from reducing greenhouse gas emissions to creating protected marine areas. Organizations like the World Wildlife Fund, WWF, and Polar Bears International are working tirelessly to preserve polar bear habitats and raise awareness about the impact of climate change. One promising initiative is the establishment of Arctic sanctuaries, where human activities like oil drilling and commercial shipping are restricted. These sanctuaries provide safe havens for polar bears and other Arctic species, giving them a better chance to adapt to a changing environment. Local communities also play a crucial role in conservation. Indigenous peoples of the Arctic have lived alongside polar bears for centuries, and their traditional knowledge is invaluable in understanding and protecting these animals. Collaborative efforts between scientists and indigenous communities are helping to develop strategies that benefit both people and wildlife. What can we do? While the Arctic may seem distant, our actions have a direct impact on its future. Reducing our carbon footprint is one of the most effective ways to help polar bears. Simple steps like using energy-efficient appliances, reducing single-use plastics, and supporting renewable energy initiatives can make a difference. Advocating for policies that address climate change is equally important. By supporting leaders and organizations committed to environmental protection, we can drive systemic change that benefits both wildlife and humanity. The polar bear's legacy. The story of the polar bear is one of resilience, but it's also a cautionary tale. These magnificent animals remind us of the fragility of our planet and the consequences of inaction. Yet they also inspire us with their strength and adaptability, showing us what's possible when we fight to protect what we love. As we conclude today's episode, let's carry the polar bear's story with us. Their survival depends on our choices, and it's not too late to make a difference. Together, we can ensure that future generations inherit a world where polar bears still roam the ice. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the Arctic. This has been EduMama, and I'm your host, reminding you to stay curious, stay compassionate, and never stop fighting for the wild. Until next time.